Okay, what's going on, everyone? Let me adjust some audio here. Make sure it's not too loud. Let me know if there's any weirdness with the audio, if it's too loud or too soft. Welcome to another Rococo Office Hours. Hello, Phantom Deluxe. Hello, Kana. Good to see you. Kana, All-Star, Rococo Discord, user, mod, just general, knowledgeable person. Hello. Well, welcome to another Rococo Office Hours. This is a time when we're here live. We can talk about Rococo workflows, or if you have questions or whatever it is, put it in the chat. So we were going to be playing around with the new Sensor Fusion 2.0 firmware that we just released for our suits, which is amazing. It's a by our estimates and just through our testing, which I don't think is like, you know, we'll see how this continues to play out, but from whatever we've been able to see, it's about a 24% increase in like just general quality. Technically, it's in the ability for the suit to navigate magnetic interference, but what it translates to is like the suit's running better than ever, it's walking better than ever, it's like all that movement stuff is feeling really good. Yeah, chat, Sensor Fusion 2.0, it's beautiful, it's really great. So if you have a suit, make sure to update your firmware. We were going to be playing around with that a lot today. Technical issues, which is why we're starting the stream late, but basically we won't get into it, but my suit needs a little love, just because it's been playing around in some pre-release dev builds and got a little funny from that. So there should be no problems with your suits. It's just I clicked the wrong thing this morning, and my suit, we're not going to jump into it right today because I need to fix it. But again, that's like a special, it's because I was messing around with like our internal software. The public software is looking so good. So that'll be fixed and we'll get into it next week. Instead, we'll get into the suit next week. Instead, what I thought we could do is play around in Rococo Video, which is our free AI motion capture tool. You just need a webcam. So we'll make some mocap using that, and then we will still, oh, I was so excited to jump into the suit, and we will, but I made up this mech, which is not that hard to do, so I thought we would go through the process of how to make like something like this. I always think this is a really fascinating use of motion capture, because it's so cool. It's just cool. And so this was inspired by the new Avatar 2 Skell suits, they're called, but they're like skinnier mechs that kind of are more human-sized. This is like not the same as that one, obviously. This is just something I did, but we'll go through this process. So I thought that could be our fun thing. So we'll go through retarget, and I'll show you. It's pretty easy to do all this stuff, and I'll show you how I approach something like this. You can see that like the legs, for instance, I've killed the animation on the legs. They're being powered via an IK chain that's just hooked up to like this platform on the leg. So it's just some cool little tricks, in my opinion. And we'll be doing it in Cinema 4D, but it should be applicable to pretty much anything else, and you'll see the technique. Luke, what's going on? I know, Kana had the first comment like 3 hours ago when this stream was supposed to start. Luke Crescente, amazing Rococo product specialist / just knowledgeable tech everything. Rococoian. Good to see you, Luke. Okay, well let's make some, let's make some free mocap. Let's do it. So I'm going to video.rococo.com. If you don't know what Rococo Video is, we have a tutorial that we put out on it. It's a free AI motion capture tool. It's kind of an intro level motion capture tool. You just need a webcam or your cell phone, and you basically take any video that is not moving, so it has to be on a tripod, like a static shot like this. Your background doesn't have to be moving. We have a whole tutorial on best practices for using Rococo Video, but it's super simple, and we'll do it right now, and you'll see. I'm not wearing any black clothing, like that's one thing. So you can see here, it's just video.rococo.com. If I go and hit create new scene, so we can create a new scene. I'll call it office hours 230302. And then we get the option to either record using device camera, so that's like the webcam I'm currently using to stream, or local video file. Because I'm live streaming right now and I've got like OBS and all these things that are using my webcam, I can't share it with my browser, but I can record video. So we're gonna record a minute-long video and upload it that way. So I'll hit select local video file. And now we need to make some motion capture. So I'm gonna go full screen. I'm gonna turn off my blurry background, sad. And we're gonna record something. So I'm gonna record a little video here, and I'm gonna do 2 animations within a single video. So we're going to, I'm gonna do like an easier one and a harder one. And then we'll see what Rokoko Video gets from it. And you can kind of see this process, which hopefully is useful, and it's always fun. Rokoko Video has been amazing, and people have been feeding in like stock footage they're finding of dancers and ballerinas and stuff, and as long as the shot isn't moving, you get like a pretty good result. Again, this is an intro motion. This is a free tool, right? It's not going to be anything compared to the suit. That's a different thing. You know, this is more intro, it's more beginner, it's not going to be as precise, and that's fine. There's still uses for motion capture like that, especially if you just want to play around. Sometimes for final assets, like if you're doing a funny dance, you don't need to do cleanup, and it probably like looks good. With Rokoko Video, there's no hand or finger data, so like if you need that, obviously Rokoko Video isn't going to be good for you. So every tool has its use. This is a more intro tool, and so there will be things that look good and things that look bad, and it's free, and that's part of the game, right? So let's record something. I'm gonna hit record. Just gonna move that, point up my camera. Let's see about my framing. I want my whole body to be in the video. So that looks really good, and yeah, I'll do something like simple, and then we'll do something like harder. But again, we're gonna do it all in one video recording, which is so great. I love that you can take one video with multiple animations in it, trim out the ones you want on the browser. In here, we'll be able to trim out what we want. And so you can have a video with like multiple animations. You can have a video with multiple animations, and you can just load them in like one by one. It's great. It's really easy. So let's record something. Okay. I'm gonna record like a minute-long video with like 2 animations. So hit record, start recording. So that's like video 1, and then we'll try something like, let's put it through its paces. Let's see if we can break it. Here's video 2. Moving around a lot, you know, just trying to see what we can do. Let's break it, you know, and again, like I wouldn't normally, if I was trying to get something useful out of it, right, I would understand the limitations of the tool I was using. Yeah, adjust that. Ooh, too much. And I wouldn't try to break it, right? Obviously, if I was trying to get like I think one really good example of something that this is good at doing is like background dancers in a club scene, right? Like that sort of thing. Like that would you could totally get away with that. If I was trying to record like a martial artist, I wouldn't probably rely on Rokoko Video because I'm just gonna have to do a lot of cleanup, which also is doable and fine, but you know, you wanna have some forethought. I try to. Okay, so here we got our video. Look at this. Does this look familiar? Look at my little cute dancing. I'm gonna load this fella up. And you know, this is like there's a 300 megabyte limit. So this is what I was talking about with trimming. Like I love that you can do this. So we're gonna go trim out our first animation and process that. And then we'll do the second one. And so you can do like a whole scene. I just like it that you can do it in a single video. And then I always talk about this, and then you can trim out the ones. Oh no, Luke, you need to, Do you have dancing FOMO? I don't. I mean, I guess it's fun. I'm not a very good dancer, but that's okay. If you're not a good dancer, it just doesn't. The only goodness of dancing is how enthusiastic you are, right? There's no real good or bad. But I don't love the dancing I end up doing for these sorts of things. I always end up, I don't know, it looks kind of weird. Anyway, you can see that it's working in the background. It's processing. You know, once it actually finishes uploading, I could click out of this window and let it do its thing on the back end. I am paranoid about technology, so why click out? So I usually just let it keep the window open. And now we're going to open up Rokoko Studio, and this is where our mocap is going to appear, right? It's going to be dumped into Rokoko Studio in a new project for us, which is really lovely and makes things easy. We just brought Rokoko Studio out of beta recently. It's looking amazing. It's doing so great. The new update we just dropped for the suit is like so awesome. And here's Rokoko Studio, and I'm actually logged into the incorrect account, so I'm going to sign out, and I'm going to sign back in on the same login that we signed into Rokoko Video, right? And you can see it's actually done processing. So I'm going to sign into the same account. And now if we go to Rokoko Studio, we're going to look at this, office hours. This is the project we created on Rokoko Video. And this should have our mocap in it, just dumped out. And at this point, the workflow, you can see here it is, new recording. The workflow is the same as it would be, you know, for any motion capture that you had in Rokoko Studio. And look at this, right? This was the simple one. And it's great. It's simple. It gets the job done. Again, this could be like you're doing a Mario video and this is Toad in the background, right? It doesn't need to be complicated all the time. And if you're looking for something custom that's free, Rokoko Video, I think, is a fantastic option, right? There's other markerless motion capture or suitless motion capture options out there like Move AI, which is paid, you know, and they're better and worse. Again, for a free tool, I think Rokoko Video is great. I've been seeing some amazing things being created with it, but it's limited, right? It's limited, and that's okay. It's a free tool. I'm not expecting, as long as you go in kind of with good expectations, I think you can do amazing things with Rokoko Video. Actually, which was proved by we recently had an animation challenge, and the submissions we got. That you had to use Rokoko Video, and the submissions that we got were like AAA next level. It was unbelievable. So I'm going to just use the same clip, right, that we used for the last animation. Drag it in, and I'm just going to select the second half this time, right? So easy. Origin, what's going on? Mech rigging is going to be good indeed. Okay, here's me trying to break Rokoko Video. Look at that. See, I don't like the faces I make. Kind of extreme. Turn into animation. So this is in the same project in Rokoko Video on the browser. And that means that this new mocap take is going to be dumped into the same project that we just had, right? So if we go back to our kind of main page, which you can go by clicking on the logo in the top left, this will be like automatically updated once this finishes. So we're going to finish processing this. Take a look. I mean, maybe we'll... Hello, Fuzzy Andy. What's going on? Maybe we'll... I don't know. We might not even really use it. I think it's good. I wanted to go through and do some Rokoko stuff, but we'll just kind of jump into mech rigging. And I've got old Rokoko... You know, I've got lots of Rokoko recordings I've already made. So we'll just use one of those from the suit and retarget that onto this mech. And yeah, and the workflow for that, you know, as I've talked about a lot in the past, my workflow uses Maya to do all my rigging. That's because, in my opinion, Maya is the best at doing rigging and control rigs and doing mocap editing. So I do all my retargeting in Maya, and then I bring it into Cinema 4D. Because Cinema 4D's retargeting tools are severely lacking when it compared to Maya and Blender. Blender's pretty good too. So this is done, and this I might need to. Here, I'll open up another scene, actually. Oh, I think my scene is like... Okay, no. Now when I open it up, it should be updated. Yeah, loading scene. So now there'll be 2 mocap takes in here. There should be. We'll see. What was I saying, though? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I use Maya, and then I go to Cinema 4D. So you could probably... I'm sure you could do this whole thing. So this looks pretty good. The whole thing in one program, but we're gonna go through my workflow because I think that's interesting, hopefully that'll be useful. So here, you know, this looks pretty good, but there are a few things we can do to make this better. So you can see down here, we have our foot contacts with the ground, and if we, you know, we have foot locks enabled in the scene, so you can see this is the blue is the right foot, R. I guess I'm blocking this, but you can see R, right, blue. And green is the left foot. Choop, choop. So if sometimes you need to go in, and this is a very typical part of working with Rokoko motion capture. Same thing for the suit. It works off the same principle, which is that it's really important for the program to understand when your feet are on the ground and when they aren't. And sometimes it gets that wrong, which is very common. It often will get something wrong, and you need to spend 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds to do a little bit of cleanup and fix it. So you can see right here, look, I know that I'm doing a jump, right? And we can go back to Rokoko video and here, let's just look at what this was. So that's what it was, right? Jump, 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 and then other stuff. So we know I'm doing jumps, and you can see right here, like right here is where our feet leave the ground. So we should go fix this. Bada boom, bada bing. And then I think we land like here. And sometimes this takes a little bit of playing around. But let's see. Oh, let's see. What we got here. So let's keep playing with it. Interesting. So let's like shorten it, right? And the other thing that we could do in this situation is actually turn off locomotion if we were having, okay, yes. So that like kind of looks better. So we'll try and clean it up, and then we'll just look at it what it is without these foot locks. You can tell that this is like, you can usually tell when things should be going, you know, from the rest of the body, you can kind of tell when things should be happening. So this is looking way better, right? We keep going through and fixing this. It's going to help everything if we fix these foot locks. You can see right here, for example, it didn't register my foot on the ground like at all. So, but if we turn off locomotion, and again, let me move my thing here. If we hit this magic wand, and we turn off locomotion, so now it's not doing any foot locking at all. And you can see I'm like floating, but also it's not doing any extra calculations based on the foot locking. So if you can't get the foot locking like good, and look at this, what we can even do is if we click on our character and go to this move button, we can actually even raise him up. So the feet aren't locking. You can see I'm kind of jumping around and like it's not as good, but if for example we just wanted to do the upper body, like this is fine, right? This is like really good. I actually think this is a great way to get results out of your Rokoko video for complicated stuff, especially if you're not going to be showing the feet. Like I almost always think it's better to do it without locomotion on if you're running around, but it depends on how much, you know, you could also go in and we could tweak it and try and get it better. And I'm sure that we could make it much better if we spent the time working on our tracks here. Usually I just don't care because I'm moving fast, and that's not why I'm using Rokoko video. But again, you can totally clean this up. And what I find foot locking more useful for is like videos like the first one we did, right? where it's like a guy, he's standing, right? He's standing. Like, this is fine. Nice. That's awesome that you're having a good time with the new studio. It's so nice that it's out in the public. Okay. So, looking pretty good, but I think this is pretty much the workflow. I don't think we're going to, now I could go and I would rename this like RKV, Rokoko Video, like dancing guy, right? And if we wanted, we could go add to export list. We could export it out. I usually these days am exporting using a Mixamo rig. I set the rest pose to T pose. I make sure it's in the frame rate I want and the FBX type that I want, which I always do an FBX binary. You can also do a BVH. And then you hit export, right? That's it. That's the workflow. It's super easy to get free motion capture that is maybe not like the most precise, but that's not what this tool is ever going to be. So you need a background dancing character, or you want to spend the time fixing up what you get from Rokoko Video, which in some cases, some animations might be a little, sometimes it might be a lot, then you can do that. Rokoko Video is such a great tool. I think it's been working out really well. So fun to go through it again. Okay, like let's jump into mech time. Let's do some mech stuff. So I'm gonna go and see if I can find. Let me go. Hold on. I'm gonna try and open up again another version, and now we're gonna go over how I got this mech looking like this, which I think is really cool looking. I really like this vibe. I thought the new Avatar 2, I actually really enjoyed it, probably because my expectations were so low. But in particular, I think anyone in CG is like, whatever. The movie might be bad if you think it's bad. I actually think the new one was so much better plot-wise than the old one. God mode. But the technology that they have is so cool, especially the Skell suits. I think they look so awesome in the movie. I thought like a lightweight mech that's so and this comes like, I'm pretty proud of this, and this is very simple, right? This isn't anything special, as you'll see, but it's such a cool look. And so often you'll see other tropes where it's like the mech pilot, you can see their upper body and you can see them moving around, right? And then you can see the mech like aping their, it's a pretty common thing, I think, using mech. So let's go and let's try and see. Okay. Okay, we're gonna jump in here. I'm gonna see if I can find, I basically, and I love how we have these fun facts now. Okay, that's not the one. I'm just gonna click through these and see if I can find. So I recorded some mocap. Again, we were gonna record new mocap today, but my suit's on the fritz because I was using it with our internal tools incorrectly. Again, the public suits are looking great. Here we go. So these were a bunch of fun. Oh, this was actually last office hours. So let's use some of these. I haven't gone through and actually updated these, which I need to do. Okay. So let's use this combat axe attack. Or, okay, this was the assassin, but these are all recorded using the suit and everything, so nothing, nothing too special. Maybe we'll do like this samurai. That could be good. And this would require some cleanup, which is good. Let's try this, because this is what we're doing. We're doing a retargeting, basically, stream today. So before I do anything, there's some weirdness here that I want to go in and clean up. So These should both be here. These are unnecessary. We can zoom in a bit if we can't get access to these, but these guys aren't actually needed. There we go. Look at how much better that looks. It's amazing. And here we could, this looks a little funny too. Okay, so what's happening there? That's, okay, sometimes when you have stuff like that, if you just reprocess it, like that didn't look, that looked like it was something else. Yeah, so that was just a weird thing. If you ever run into weird things like that, sometimes you just need to reprocess it. Look at how good this looks. Looks awesome. Okay, so let's rename this Samurai Sword Fight, and we're going to add to export list, and we're going to export out a Mixamo. We're not going to do the face. We don't need the body mesh. We're going to do Mixamo, blah, 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 and here we go. Export clips. Looks good. So now let's open up Maya, and we're going to retarget to the robot first, clean that up. Then we're going to retarget to our pilot, clean that up. Then we're going to export both, take them into Cinema 4D, put them together, and see what we got. And it should be pretty darn cool and relatively easy to do. I mean, essentially when you're doing something like this, you have a mech pilot and you have a mech. You have the pilot controlling the mech's movements. What you're doing, if you're, I mean, in Avatar, you know, they're using composites of real people, but here we're using two digital characters, right? The pilot is a digital character and the mech is a digital character. And so what you do is essentially you just retarget your mocap to both. And then you what we're going to do is kill all the animation on the hips of our pilot, constrain the hips of our pilot to the hips of our robot, build IK feet chains to have the feet follow the legs of the robot, and that's it, right? That's it. It's pretty simple. It's a very simple thing, but I just think you end up with such a cool outcome. That is dope. So I've got this, where is it? My skinny rigged robot. Here we go. We have tutorials for how to do all this retargeting. We just released a whole retargeting series in Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, Unreal, and iClone, which are just some ways to do retargeting, not the end-all be-all ways to do retargeting. There's lots of different workflows, and they're all good in their own ways, but it's what we know does work and is one way to do it. So check out our retargeting tutorials if you want to go through this stuff in depth, like not in a live stream, because I think we lay it out pretty good. One thing that I do now is I always go in Maya and I make sure that, oh no, all of my scene objects that are for my character are in their own namespace. And then my mocap is in its own namespace. And that just helps things get stay clean. So I'm gonna go to import. Here's our mocap, Samurai Sword Fight, Mixamo, import. I'm going to extend out my skeleton, general editors, namespace editor. Make a new namespace. Then, because it's a Mixamo skeleton, I have a Mixamo preset. I can basically go to a new character definition, load in Mixamo, and it all works. There we go. And again, so I've gone through this. What I do is I essentially set up all my characters in advance in project files that are ready to take mocap. So you can see how it took me 5 seconds to get this mocap onto my robot, right? And now what we're going to go through is we're going to fix this left wrist so that and the right wrist, so that it doesn't overload things. And you can see that I accidentally, that was stupid. I left too much on the timeline. The axe attack jump was super nice. Yo, it was using some elevation tracking in that axe attack, which we did last week, and I haven't uploaded this yet. We're actually not uploading the mocap anymore. What we have is a free asset page on our website. And if we even go, if we just Google Rokoko free assets. Oh, these are old motion library assets. I know we could get there from the site too. Free resources. We have this free resources page where we have free mocap, and we're going to be switching that in and out. We have free characters and lots of stuff. So this page is going to get way more intense, but that's going to be where we're linking to. Because what we do is we make free mocap and we give it out. So that's where you're going to be able to get that. Anyway, where am I? I'm in Maya. Yes, this looks good. So it's been baked to an IK control rig. At this point, we can actually delete our motion capture. Get out of here, motion capture. And you can see now, if I select... Oh, did I bake this? I didn't. Oopsie. Okay. So now let's go to bake to control rig. And so this will bake our motion capture to our control rig, which I thought I just did, but maybe I didn't. Look at that sword. Look at that. Yeah, samurai. Looking dope. Wow, looking very intense. I don't know why it's playing so fast. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Boom. Okay. There we go. So now look what we got. We got an IK chain that we can do mocap editing on. So, and sometimes this happens with models. If you see stuff like this where the legs start being weird, usually it's like one of these IK blend things. You can see that fixed it. Looks good. So first things first, let's fix this hand. And so what should be happening here? Actually, let's fix the right hand first, because what we want to have the right hand do, and again, we have control rigs, right? We can't make changes right here because, as you can see, there's keyframes on this null for the wrist. So if we made a change, it's just going to get overridden by like the next keyframe. So to fix that, what we do is we go into the channel layer editor, we go to animation layers, and we add a new animation layer, and look, all the keyframes are gone. So that is that's how we're going to do our mocap editing. The other thing I'm going to do is give our robot a sword. So let's make a badass, tall ass sword here. How big should this sword be? Let's look at this is how the samurai would, right? It's going to be on his hip. Is that a good sword length for a mech? Sure. Let's say it's a good sword length. So now what I'm going to do is, this is how I kind of like to go about like just testing this. I'm just going to parent this cylinder to my mech in its hand, right? So this is the sword. Let's say it's like that. And then if we just go and put this underneath the right hand, look at this. Boom. Okay, so you can see right here, this is why we're fixing the right hand first. This sword is hanging on his hip, right? So let's fix that first, and then we're going to fix the other hand. So we created a new animation layer. What that means is that now we can go in and add keyframes. So I'm just going to leave it connected, right? But in theory, we'll put the sword on the hip, right? And then it would grab the sword off the hip. But if I add a keyframe right here, and then right when it lands, that's when he grabs it, right? We want to move this to there. Right? Looks good. And then when he brings it out, look at that. So what I did there is I just reset this layer back to its original animation. So you can't see it because I'm blocking here, but I'm essentially adding keyframes. And I hate that Maya makes its keyframes in red because you really can't see them. But right here, you can see, if we go through our keyframes, we have keyframe 1 right here. Here's keyframe 2 at the hip, which is the new position of this hand. But by the time it gets to here, keyframe 3, we're back to the original location of where the hand is supposed to be, which looks fucking dope. Look at that. Okay, but he's obviously clipping through. So now we need to fix this hand. The rest of this should be good. Like, I'm not going to worry about this other hand. Now would be the time to do any other fixes. I don't know. It looks pretty dope. I think it's fine. We'll just leave it because again, we're doing an example. This isn't supposed to be perfection. So let's fix this hand now. So I'm going to add this hand to a new layer. And right here, so here's where we want kind of the hand to be, right? The hand is like resting. This is what I imagine samurais do, right? This is how we've seen it. It's resting on the like sword even. So add a keyframe there. So now the whole time the hand is there. And then he comes and grabs it. And by the time that thing moves, let's move this hand out of the way. Keyframe, and then we're gonna zero out this layer again. So that's now the original place of that left hand. So let's play this through. Like, look at that. That looks sick. He doesn't even clip with the sword. Oh, this looks awesome. Sorry, I'm getting so excited about mechs. It looks so cool. Okay, so here's the other thing that we're gonna fix now, because the left hand still has problems because we do stuff like this. So I'm gonna do this quick and dirty. The real way to do this would be at this point, once he latches onto the sword with the hand, you should really set up an IK rig that just keeps that hand like locked onto the sword. We're gonna jury rig this and manually keyframe the hand, but the way you would do it like really is you would lock the hand onto the sword, so it would just follow this hand would follow this hand, and it would be in lockstep, right? We're gonna go through and kind of do this manually because it's easy for what we're doing right now. So I'm gonna add a keyframe, right? I've got my left hand selected. Again, this is when he comes up to grab the sword. So let's go, and here we go. Look at this. Add a keyframe. And now we're just gonna have to go through, and I doubt, yeah, you can already see the hand is like going up, right? So you'd go through and you can see how it's like the hand is drifting. This is why if you were using an IK chain, it would just stay like locked onto the sword, right? And this is a super common thing when it comes to inertial motion capture. You know, this robot has very different proportions than me. So actually, this isn't even an inertial motion capture thing. This is like this robot's arms are crazy long thing. So you're always gonna need to go in and like do mocap editing. Here, right here, maybe the hand is like still on it, but then here it goes back to where it should be. Here we go. So it's not perfect, but I'm gonna say that's good enough. We could really, oh, okay, let's fix this. Let's fix this. This is dope. We're doing mocap editing. That's what we're doing. So let's spend the time to do it. I went back to anim layer 1. Oh, is that all in anim layer 1? I hope. doesn't seem to have affected it. So I'm going to add a new one anyway. Make sure I'm on the new layer. Try and keep it clean. So right here is the next time. You can see we have crazy clipping on this leg. So add a keyframe. At this point, ooh. Ooh, what do we do? Oh, look at that. Whoa. Okay. What were we doing here? Let's get. So we need to go and grab this arm again. At this point, yeah, we do not want that arm intersecting. So we'll try to have it be a good boy. We could also get in and here, let's add selected. We're adding this elbow pole. So here on this, add a keyframe there. I just kind of want to get through and make this dirty. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to worry so much about clipping. Rip it out. And, you know, again, we could avoid all of this if we just did like an IK chain solution here. Although that would present its own challenges. Whew. Let's say that that's good enough. And let's also cap this at 650. There we go. So there we go. That is how I would go about editing this samurai mocap. And it could obviously get better. We're just not going to go for it because we want to do the mech stuff mostly. Looks cool though. Okay, so now what we can do is just export this beast out. Let's export it out. Export all. Projects, mech running. Okay, mech samurai. Save. Constraints. Yeah, it is a bow. Good to see Alberto. It is a bow. I think a bow staff, right? Bow staff. So we're just going to write our output file, and then we're going to go and we're going to do this for the mech. Boom. Look at that. Done, done. Let's save it just because we might want to make small changes to it. Robot samurai. And then we will open up our pilot. So where is our mech pilot? Cyberpunk Street Girl. This is our mech pilot that I've been using. Oh no, this is someone else. But let's use this because this looks dope. She looks cool. Okay, so I've got her all ready to go. Cool looking character. Let's go and add her to her own namespace. So what I do every time. It's probably not super necessary, but I just like to keep my mocap and my characters in different namespaces in Maya because I find that otherwise, sometimes when you're importing Rokoko motion capture, especially to a project that's been preset up, you run into some very weird confliction issues. So this just makes sure that it's clean. And as soon as we do that, we can just go create a new character definition again, select the hips. It's a Mixamo skeleton, so we just add the Mixamo preset. Bada boom, bada bing. And you can see on a character that's not as weird proportionally. And like, I don't know if I'm gonna fix her mocap at all, because we really don't need to. I kind of don't care. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. And like, even the mech operator in theory, like, it wouldn't be perfect. So what I'm gonna do for her, oh, and I forgot. Okay, we're gonna go back and re-export our mech actually, because, or maybe we won't. One step that I forgot that I usually do is always I add Butterworth. I add a Butterworth filter, which smooths out my mocap. We'll add it to her. And normally I would have done it for the mech. I'm not going to go back and redo it. I think it would be fine if I went and did it for him now, but, or her now, but, it's fine. It's not going to matter. I'll do it for her though. So I'm deleting my motion capture because we don't need it anymore. Potentially crashing Maya. What's the deal, Maya? You gonna crash on me? You gonna crash on me, Maya? It's loading very slowly. I don't know why Maya does this sometimes. It's like, this is a super low poly like character. It's, I don't know why it's. Ooh, does it have textures? It might. Usually it's not like ready to look at in Maya. Ooh, okay. Looking cool here, and look, it's loading up. Oh, look at me. I'm so badass. Fuck, she's so cool. Oh, I love this. This is going to be fun. Okay, so yeah, if we were to Butterworth this, the way I would do it is I would bake it to the control rig. Then I select all the control rig nulls. If you do it here, you don't select the fingers, which I think is good because I don't like messing with the finger animation. It's like the bigger animation. Finger, what Butterworth does, and we go to animation editors, graph editor. You can see these are all the animations, graphs, for all these nulls. And if we go up to curves, first I always do a Euler filter and then a smooth filter Butterworth, and I open up the options. What this is doing, and I'm going to do it something extreme, like I'm going to do it 4. What this is doing is it's going through and it's essentially, it's applying a Bezier or a B-spline curve to all of your animation points. So it smooths out the transitions between them, and it ends up evening out the highs and the lows. Now with fingers move really quickly in space. They translate through space at crazy speeds, way faster than our arm, right? Our fingers are can be really fast. I can't do that with my arm. So when you have such fast motions and you're applying smoothing filters to them, you end up messing with them. So I generally don't do it to the fingers. But anyway, now this is applied, we'll look at it again. And this is the effect right here. You can see Rokoko mocap starts in a T-pose, but then the next couple frames are the starting frames of the animation. So it's a very abrupt jump. And when you have a very abrupt jump that you average out, you end up getting wobbling momentum. So you can see in the first few frames of this, right, it's got bounce to it as it settles. And that's because it's evening out that transition, right? That really abrupt transition. So what I love about this filter is it basically just goes through and it kind of just eliminates all the little micro shake that we have as humans that we aren't used to seeing in digital characters. We're used to seeing digital characters that are hand keyed, right? And they don't have little shakes that we have as humans. They tend to, their hand comes to a rest in space and it stays there. It doesn't drift. Ours do. So this helps, I think, get to a place that looks more AAA, looks more expected. Anyway, this looks cool as well. Export all. We're going to call this Pilot Samurai. Export, and we will save this, and then we're going to jump into Cinema. We're going to put it all together. Find a big-ass robot sword and put it in this robot's hands. And man, I got a lot of robot swords to pick from. So I'm sure we can find one that's dope. Okay, save this. Again, we're going to call this Pilot Samurai in case we want to come back in and make any changes in the future. Otherwise, let's open up Cinema 4D. And again, you know, my process might seem very fragmented because I use Maya, of all things, to do my retargeting. And then I do all my work in Cinema 4D. You know, I'm using each tool to do what it does best. Maya's the best in animation. It just is. I hate it. I hate Maya. I also love Maya. It's fantastic. It makes a lot of what I do for motion capture so much easier. I don't think there's anyone who loves Maya that also doesn't hate Maya. It's a weird old program that like they don't update very well, but it's also like the best, and it's at some things. One of them being animation and mocap retargeting, in my opinion, right? So that's why I use it. And I've just found that it's so much easier to do the sorts of things in Maya, especially with, I use lots of different characters that have lots of different skeletons. And Maya is so good at quickly doing all that stuff. Blender, I think, is second best. And if you were doing this, if you were a Blender guru, you would do your retargeting in Blender, then you'd export in Blender, right? You're doing it all in Blender, which is ideal. Cinema 4D doesn't have good retargeting. So I don't use the retargeting in Cinema 4D because it would be a nightmare. And it's so much easier for me in 5 minutes to go into Maya, do my retargeting that's perfect, do some mocap editing, and like, that's it. It's easy. So now we're going to go and we're going to go find our exports. And we're going to start with our Mech Samurai. Let's open it up. So we got our Mech Samurai. We might go in and do the sword thing first. I think it was, what is it, 680? Something like that. Keyframes. You can see this weird arm, and that's because it's starting right here at the hip. So this looks cool. Now what we're going to do to mechify this is we're just going to get rid of this head, because we don't really need it. And we could use this as like a roll bar maybe if we wanted to. But we don't, right? This mech doesn't have a head. It's a vehicle for a human. So we just get rid of the head. Okay, let me go and I'm going to save this because it's always good to save things. Mech Samurai, C4D, save it. And let's go find a little sword because I want to put the sword in first. And I'm just looking through my sword models. I've got, where are you? Where are you? I know that I have a badass sword. Look at this shit. So this is a great sword, not a samurai sword. We'll see if it works. Cool. We need to texture, great sword, default color. And maybe we'll just go through and make the material for this right now. Oop. Cinema's thinking. Cinema's thinking. So I got my textures right here, right? And what I like to do actually is I like to drag them in. So then I just go to the roughness, put in my roughness pass. Oh, didn't put it in the right slot. Put it into texture. Yep. I go to my normal, load in my normal. Yep. This is actually metallic. So then I go to image map. I make sure to use a texture for the specular map. Yes. Looking cool. A hell. Okay. So now let's go and kind of match up our great sword. Fun office hours. This is awesome. Okay, let's go like this. So I don't think, yeah, right. This would be on his back or her back, right? So that's okay though. We can always change this sword out. Okay, There we go. So I'm going to add a rigging tag now. Constraint tag, parent. Parent it to the hand bone, which, where are you, hand bone? Oh, it's kind of annoying to find. Okay, it's probably this. So where? And then the other thing is, if you're ever parenting things in Cinema 4D, you always want to have the parented thing at the bottom of what you're trying to parent it to. Okay, it needs to go to this bone. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. There we go. Looking good. Okay, now we need to deal with this little cylinder. We don't need this. There we go. And then what I actually like to do in Cinema now is I go and I create two versions when I'm doing things like this. So I have one version that's parented, and then I have one version that isn't. And this is actually parented to like the hip, right? This is going to be parented to the hip. So rigging tag, constraint, parent. Let's put this on our character's hips. And then essentially what you do is you just like switch on and off their display. That's kind of the cheat that I've been doing. So like right here, let's switch. So the original one, they're both going to use visibility. Let's add keyframes. The second one should be 0. And then they should switch, obviously, right? And this is, I think it took me a long time to figure out this is actually the easiest way to do this in Cinema. And I swapped them. There we go. And then the only other thing is when he whips out the sword, you can see that it's just kind of in the wrong orientation. So I'm going to add a keyframe, and then right here, whoop, it should just be like this, right? Looking pretty cool. So that's kind of the been having some trouble with the shoulder for the skeleton. Arcanum, Infinium, I think is actually it, right? Can you give me any more specifics? You mean in your suit or in retargeting? What program are you in? What trouble are you having with the shoulder for the skeleton? It could be you have a busted sensor on the shoulder, maybe. Or it could be that there is retargeting stuff. Are you in Blender? Give me those deets. Okay, so there we go. We got our mech looking good. But now what? We need a mech pilot. So let's go import our mech pilot. Pilot Samurai. See how tall she is. So she is not tall enough. So I'm going to select all of her. Add her to a null. Call it pilot. I'm going to increase her size by about 50%. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. How's that for size? Is that too big? Is that too small? The first thing I'm going to do on her is I'm just going to delete the entire hips track. No more hip animation. Right? Don't need hip animation. So now what we can do is we can position her. Yeah, so this looks great. This is actually the right size. So this is about what we want. We want to position her in the middle, right by the hips of our mech. There we go. And we need to, so we could do like this sort of thing. Maybe put her right there. You can see the metal is kind of digging into her back a little bit. I'm not going to worry about that. That's something that would be easy to fix, right? What we want to do is the fundamentals here. And what we're doing is we are now adding a constraint tag, rigging, constraint, parent, her hips to the hips of the robot. And look what we already got. This look familiar? Look at how cool this shit is. I love this shit. It's so awesome. Oh, so cool. So now the obvious thing to do is, so it's kind of cool with like her actually doing the foot movements, but I thought it was cooler if, because she's like standing, which is weird. I think what you could do in a situation like this is rig up an IK platform. So like the tech is like letting her stand on a platform that like is moving to her movements, right? And so you could do that. Here's the other thing you can do, which is what I ended up doing. Let's go to her. We're going to delete all the animation on her legs. No animation on her legs. Delete. So now we got no animation on the legs. Yeah, Arcanum, Arcanum. Arc Infinium. Arc Infinium is a cool name. Sorry, Arc Infinium. It's like, what is Tony Stark cooking up? I like it. It's cool. Do a flip, yeah. So what that is, that's just like sometimes shoulders in motion capture, certainly in Rococo motion capture, but in a lot of the mocap, there's a tendency to you get this. And that's, I think, because a T-pose is zeroed out usually, where the collarbones are level with the ground. Usually as human beings, you can even see on me, my collarbones are not level with the ground. So it would be like me moving like this, right? That's what you get, right? And it's like, that doesn't look natural. You need to either, what you need to do is, it's all relative retargeting, right? And I'm sure you know this, but it's relative, right? So what you could do to fix that is on your characters, I would pose them in their T-poses, just raise their collarbones up. And then everything, or raise them down, rather. And then everything will be relatively down when you retarget the animation. Yeah, exactly. Put it into not an A pose probably, and also an A pose would be from the upper arm. You would tilt it down and keep the arms straight. And you would tilt the arms down so that the collarbone was down. Or what you can do is just do some mocap editing and fix it in post, right? That would be the other thing, which is, again, that's a very typical issue. That's something that you're going to have to fix or not fix depending on like your use case, right? If you're getting weird results, I would pre-pose your characters. Like what I would do is if I had my robot and it was always giving me that problem, in Maya, I would pose him always with his arms down. And then when I opened up the project, his collarbones were down. When I do my retargeting, the collarbones will be down by the same relative amount that they were when he was posed, and that would fix it, right? Or I could have him in a T-pose, a normal T-pose, do the retargeting, and then he'll like look weird, kind of bring his arms down on an animation layer, fix it that way. So those are the two options. In iClone, there's a dedicated way to fix shoulder rise because it's such a common thing with all motion capturing characters. So that's how I'd fix that. Anyway, look at what we got. We got a cool mech pilot looking sick. The other thing that you could do, especially with because this robot's body is like really weird. there's probably going to be times when like the feet aren't right. So I could have gone in and like maybe aligned it, but I bet we're going to get instances where the feet, I don't know, it looks pretty good. Okay, let's do these. So we've removed all the animation from the legs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the thigh here to the foot and do IK, create IK chain. Boom, thigh to the foot, create IK chain. And now what we should have, yeah, so now we have an IK chain, right, that we can move the feet. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to take these feet, we're going to move them back. Then I'm going to take the right one. And I liked kind of putting the foot like on this, right? Like this little platform I thought was like kind of, that could be how the tech works. So put it there. Then I'm going to add a constraint tag. So a lot of constraint tags. There always ends up being a lot of parenting. Parent to this. Then we'll do the same thing for this one. Let's put her up in the little, put her feet in the right spot. Boom. Same thing. Rigging, constraint, parent it to this. And let's see what we got. We'll probably need to fix this a little bit, but oh, what the hell? So, okay, let's drag these to the bottom. And then what we can do is on these, let's see if we can, I think I'm parenting to like the wrong thing. Hold on. I'm not parenting to the right object. Yeah, I was parenting to like the whole. So that's the tricky thing. You got to make sure you're clicking the right thing. Look at that. Oh, it's so cool. Okay, and so here you can see I don't really like how these legs are. And if you go to the IK chain tags, you can kind of mess with this. Oh yeah, twist. So yeah, I think she should be like more like that. Okay, so no, what I actually, let's go and grab these goalies and kind of position. Oh look, she's wearing like badass high heels. Okay, that looks good, I think. Oh. And there we go. So like you can see there's obviously things, if this was a AAA, we'd go through and we'd clean up more. We'd maybe give her like a secret sword. You can see there's lots of other issues, right? Because we did this quick and dirty. Like look, her hand is on the thing, clipping here. This whole arm passes through here. There's lots of other, you would continue finessing. This would be by no means like a finished product. I think her legs should be like lower down. I think we made her slightly too big. So I would probably make her smaller. And then her legs would like fit into that little slot a little bit better. Pretty cool though, I would say. Looks pretty darn cool. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you called it. It's all about constraints, baby. And so here, well, let's just do some more fixes here. So this, what you can do is you can do some fixes in the back end. Excuse me. So here, I'm going to change the pivot point of this sword to down here. Oh, yeah. Is this going to fuck up? Yeah, it is. Okay, well, I can do it here too. But what I want is for this. Okay. So again, this is the messy way to do this, but it just doesn't really matter. Again, the way to do this would have been with the pivot point, but let's see if this... Yeah, that doesn't look horrible. Looks sick. And you know, that's like a little trick that I like to do is, you know, if like in theory what you should do to fix stuff like this clipping, right, is you would go in and you would edit the wrist. But what you could really do is like just edit the sword location, just like it's like, because I think when you are holding things, you can hold it like this, but it doesn't stay like this. Sometimes I like hold it like this. Sometimes I tilt it down. I can keep it in this grip and still spin it and do lots of things. So I think it's okay. Sometimes, you know, if it's coming through the ground, it's like, you know, just rotate the sword so it doesn't go through the ground. And it's like they change the position in the hand. Arc Infinium. I'm not sure. You said that you're in Maya, Motion Builder, and Unreal. Have you tried doing different skeleton types? I would try doing that. Like, does it happen with the Mixamo skeleton? Does it happen with the Maya Human IK skeleton? Are you using... I would try doing a binary FBX export. Other than that, maybe it's something wonky with your suit, potentially. I don't know. I might... If you haven't hit up the Rokoko Discord, I would put screen captures and stuff there, and hope, and it's just really exaggerated and a bit annoying to have to clean up. That sounds bizarre. If it's not, if it's like looks way different from mine, this is how it should be operating, right? I'd maybe do a firmware update, you know, make sure you're on the latest firmware. I'm sure you are, but that sort of stuff. Export to UE skeleton, maybe. Maybe it's a skeleton thing. Again, I don't... If you're using Human IK skeleton, I mean, it should be fine, but maybe there's weird things that are hidden, especially if you're in Motion Builder. I don't know. But yeah, I'd put screen caps up if you could in the Rokoko Discord. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Should we look at what this actually looks like? Oh no. Octane it. Give me that high octane goodness. Oh, it looks so cool, baby. Ugh. I mean, you could make something so awesome with this. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's such a good samurai acting. Wipe the blood off. Oh, I think it's just such a cool... You know, anything like this is always... I always think in CG, it's like... And in any video medium, in any visual art, I think for video, especially when you're trying to make things look good, like the human eye, we're used to a certain complexity in our daily lives, right? If I look around using my eyes, it's like it's crazy how much details and everything, right? It's detail that we can never hope to simulate, or at least not yet. But what you can do to fake that is like add in things that fill up the movement and the space and kind of distract your brain from looking for all of those super detailed things that we expect, right? So things like that are like this. It's like a person moving within a mech suit. I'm like, oh, that just looks cool. I don't really need to know about where the feet are and all that. Like, it looks cool, right? Same thing for like added cloth. Like, let's go in and like, if you can add in physics stuff, I think it always like ends up upping the realism so much, because it just is like more stuff for the body and the mind to kind of process. And I think that what ends up happening is your brain is like, oh, okay, yeah. So it's like, it's real. It's like, that's all I need to know. Right. Okay. I want to, in this plane, I just want 2. And then we're going to go in and delete that. And then we're going to subdivide. Look, we got a little cape thing here. Looks cool. Boom. We got our cape. Doesn't have a ton of polys, which is kind of what we want. I'm just going to basically add a rigging tag to this. So constrain parent this to this metal thing. Right? Here, let's add a little, so here's the cape. And the new cloth tools in Cinema 4D are just so freaking powerful. What we can do now is just go and add a cloth tag, add a cloth belt tag, go in, select a couple points. Where are you? Where are you? Come on, you gotta... this thing. Is that? Okay, name that. That's what I want. Am I gonna be able to find this again? Okay, put that over there. So go and select the one that I, where is it? What did I just do? There it is. Boom. So there we go. And now set. And oh, that did not work. Hold on. Subdivision. Guys, come on. Come on. There we go. Bada boom, bada bing. Look what we got now. We got some cool cloth. It looks really bad. Because it doesn't have enough subdivisions. But anyway, you could add some... some cloth stuff. Yeah, this... oh, bother. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through it. But adding strips of cloth or cape or anything like that, anything that adds visual complexity, I think is like a good way to kind of just make things look cool. But yeah, there we go. I think we're gonna kind of call it there. It was a lot of fun. Mech rig and stream, baby. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun going through and just and doing this. I think this is such a freaking cool thing. It really gets me. What we can do is add a target tag. And we can kind of follow. Actually, let's target tag the yo. Cables. Oh my god, I got so many cables. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I did that exact thing. I set up cables, and it's really easy now to actually set up in Cinema 4D to set up dynamic cables, which is so cool. Pretty cool. There we go. Cool. Okay, we're gonna call it here. Yeah, Arc Infinium. Put some screen captures up in the Rococo Discord, and hopefully that someone either from Rococo will get to you, or an enterprising community member will help you out, or I will if you tag me. I try to get on there, but it's really usually Alberto and Kana holding things down, and the rest of our team. But yeah, we're going to call it here. Thanks for joining, everyone. Next week, we'll definitely pop in the suit, and we're going to go outside and be running around and stuff. So really putting the suit through its paces. Cool. Okay. I want to sign off. Thanks for joining. Have a good day. Thanks, Alberto. It's good to see you all. Good to see you, Kana. Good to see you, Ark, and Luke, and everyone. So, okay. We're going to call it here.